It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another video for Season 8 of The Walking Dead. In this video, we're going to be talking about Rick's quote and explaining what it might mean and how it might connect to the plot and bringing the comic material to the TV show. Now, with the topic of this video, it's going to contain a lot of comic spoilers. So, if you're not a comic reader, I would advise you not to watch this video because it will definitely spoil some things for you in terms of what happens in the comics. Now, that being said, the first minute or two I will discuss the parts that are non-spoiler, and then I'm going to get into the comic spoilers. So you can stay for the first minute or two, and then I'll let you know when I'm basically going to be getting into the comic material. So which quote are we talking about? First, let's talk about which scene we're talking about. So we're talking about the scene where we have Rick and he is not in very good shape. It seems like he's been crying and his eyes are all red and everything. And it looks like he is shocked and he has witnessed something tremendous. It's the same kind of face we see of Rick in Season 7, Episode 1. Once everything is settled and things start to kick in with him that he has lost Abraham and Glenn. And he was just about to cut his son's arm off. So it's the same exact kind of look that Rick has. So the quote that he says in that scene is, "My mercy prevails over my wrath."
My mercy prevails over my wrath.
So what does that mean? Just to explain what this quote means, it basically means that my mercy will overcome the vengeance that I have and how much I want to take revenge. So that's basically what it means. So he is saying that he will have mercy instead of trying to seek revenge. Now, obviously, this is where the title of the episode 801 comes from, mercy. But this is actually not the first time we have this quote. We hear this quote earlier in this same episode. If you remember, when we had that scene when Carl was basically going to the gas station and trying to get gas and everything, when he was hearing that guy talk to himself, we did hear that quote. So when the guy was talking, he said, "My mother used to say this to me," that the quote was, "My mercy prevails over my wrath." So he said that in that instance. And I'll put a clip of this here so you can actually check that out.
Mom, she also said that, "May my mercy prevail over my wrath." It's not all my mom. That one, that's from the Quran.
So as you can see, this guy definitely said, "My mercy prevails over my wrath." And it's definitely the same quote that Rick says. So what connects those two things together? That's going to be when we have to get into some spoilers. So if you're not a comic book reader, then this is probably where you should stop watching because things may be spoiled for you. The only thing that you should take away from this part of the video is that it's not the first time we heard that quote, and that this new character that we will definitely get to know more said that at the beginning of the episode. And, Rick was just repeating it. So what this means is that somehow, in some way, shape, or form, this new character is going to be involved in whatever Rick went through to end up looking like the way he ended up looking like. And, saying those words. So that's basically it for the non-spoiler portion of this video. So now we're going to get into some spoilers. So spoilers in 3, 2...
You're gonna make me count? Okay. I'm counting. 10, 9, 8, 7.
So who is this guy? So it seems like this new character is Siddiq from the comics. Now, it's definitely not confirmed 100%, but it definitely seems like this is actually Siddiq from the comics. And for those of you that don't remember, Siddiq is one of those characters that's attached to the Oceanside. So now if we're looking at the TV show version of the Oceanside, he is most likely one of the members of the Oceanside that had to run away when the Saviors attacked and killed all of the men. Because if you remember, there was a scene back at the Oceanside, I don't know who said it, but she said that they lined up all the men and shot him in the head. So he most likely survived that attack and ran away. So how does this connect what he is saying to Rick? Think about the circumstance in which he ran away. He ran away because the saviors showed up and killed innocent people. So then if we kind of connect this with what happened between Siddiq, or who we think is Siddiq, and Carl, it kind of makes sense because we see that Carl is trying to help this guy, trying to save him, and Rick comes in and basically pushes the guy away. But then we have Carl coming back later and giving Siddiq or bringing Siddiq some food. So if we get into a situation where Siddiq comes back into play, Carl, he has a lot of influence on Rick. And I could definitely see a scenario playing out in which Rick just about to kill someone, not Negan himself. I think this is going to include some other saviors possibly. So we have a situation where Rick is just about to kill some saviors, and Siddiq is most likely going to be there, and he's going to basically say that they're working people, they're most likely innocent, that they're not with the saviors, that they were just surviving. And because Carl has this influence on Rick, and because Siddiq has this influence on Carl, and because Siddiq witnessed what he witnessed, the saviors coming in and killing the innocent people of the Oceanside, it kind of all makes sense if we look at it that way. Now, why would Rick end up looking like how he ended up looking like with the red eyes and everything? I think that situation is connected to something else as well. So I'm basically predicting that Rick lets some saviors go, and maybe those saviors will come back, and maybe someone Rick is very close to, possibly Morgan, ends up getting killed by one of those same saviors. And maybe that's what pushes Rick to not want to kill Negan. Because if you think about it, okay, Rick doesn't kill this guy runs away, comes back, and kills Morgan. And then we have Morgan with his all life is precious stance on things, and he thinks about Siddiq and how saviors killed innocent people at the Oceanside and things like that. And maybe he comes to a conclusion that maybe we shouldn't just let him go, and that we should possibly do something about these saviors, but not necessarily kill them. And that's most likely going to be what pushes Rick to put Negan in the cell instead of killing him, to show that, this is going to be a new world, that they're going to start to rebuild humanity, rebuild society that way. So I think that could potentially be where they're going with this. Now, you might say, why wouldn't Rick just kill Negan? Because he's said over and over that he's going to kill him, and that, if this guy ran away, came back and killed Negan, doesn't this give him more reason to want to kill Negan? Well, think about it. When Rick was giving the ultimatum to Negan, he said, I can't guarantee at any time after this moment that any of you, excluding Negan, is going to survive. And none of them really came forward except Gavin, which I'm going to do a separate video on that. But nobody really came forward. And, that was basically Rick's ultimatum, that specific scene. So after that, he doesn't care about the saviors anymore. He doesn't care how many saviors die. He's not really thinking about that anymore. But what happened with Siddiq and the Oceanside and Morgan and, this savior who will potentially run away, everything kind of put together makes Rick understand that maybe there are some saviors that need saving, but at the same time, there are saviors that he can just lock away and not have to kill. And, maybe he would rethink killing Negan as well, because obviously, like I said, he was going to kill Negan. He was going to let others who surrendered go, but he wasn't going to let Negan go. So I think if we kind of put all of that together, it could potentially explain this quote and how it kind of fits in with the story. Now, the scene with Rick with the red eyes and everything, that's most likely not going to come back into play or be explained fully till the end of the season, or the end of whenever All Out War is going to end. But overall, that's my opinions. I don't know how well I articulated that. That scene has a lot to do with Siddiq, obviously, and what he witnessed back at the Oceanside, as well as Morgan and, what might happen to Morgan. So I think if we put all of that together, that explains what might happen with Rick and how this war might potentially end. But I want to know everybody's opinions about this. Let me know what you think about this quote, how you think it connects to the story, and let me know how clear I was with explaining this. I feel like I was all over the place, but it's difficult to kind of explain this because there's so many elements that we need to consider. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.